All right, today we're going to look at the new Notebooklm update. It was updated over a week ago. You already know this spectacular free tool from Google lets us create our own database and run an AI model to search for information quickly within that database, which is incredible for students and anyone looking to learn things fast. For example, you add different books on the same topic to the database, and instead of making up an answer, Notebooklm extracts the exact information from those books to tell you, hey, on page 145 of this book, I found what you asked about. Take a look. And instead of having an AI opinion based on thousands of iterations, we have a much more filtered. I'm already here in Notebooklm. So I'm already here in Notebooklm. We have different examples here, like the 1945 archive. Let's get into the introduction of Notebooklm, since we're discussing the tool itself. And I want you to see that there are 3 sections within the platform. First, we have the left section, which is the resources area, where we can add resources like books, internet documents, TXT files from our computer, YouTube videos. Then we have the chat section, which is where we talk with the AI tool. This tool has 0 creativity, okay? Which means nothing will be invented. In other words, you'll ask about a topic, and if, for example, I've uploaded 20 programming books, if I ask how to make macaroni, unless there's an explanation about it in the program or books themselves, the AI will tell me that information isn't available in the database I provided. This means we're using AI solely to research and extract the specific information we need. Let's look at an example. Here we have Notebook, for example, and we're going to ask what Notebooklm is, right? What is Notebooklm? So we input this question and it responds, Notebooklm is an artificial intelligence used to as a research assistant and partner designed to research, help you organize, understand, and refine your ideas. Unlike other AI models, it's trained specifically on information you provide, meaning it acts as a personalized expert on the materials you upload, as long as the materials you upload are expert sources on the subject you're asking about, right? With the studio, you can creatively transform and research in different formats like audio, video, mind maps, and have interactive study tools such as flashcards. And there are indeed more functions beyond these. So let's open this other drop-down menu where we find the very interesting study section. I think we already have quite a few examples ready here. Obviously, they've selected the best options available, but we have the ability to create slides using Notebooklm, as you can see here in the right panel. Can I make this larger? Yes, perfect. So we have these slides here in this presentation, right? We can even display it in full screen if needed. We have the function of an explanatory video. In fact, many AI channels have emerged that take this content and simply summarize it directly based on a topic. It even comes with audio and a pre-generated presentation. This is really fascinating because imagine you're working on a final degree project and need to quickly research one of the smaller modules within your work, such as magnetic waves. Well, start by gathering some books from people who've thoroughly researched those magnetic waves, along with interesting videos and documentaries. Upload everything together. I think at that time the limit was 50 sources. But when in doubt, let's ask about it, right? I hope the information is up to date. Look, this is what I was telling you. Based on the information you've given me, this concept doesn't exist, so I don't know, okay? That's what makes this tool super interesting. Look, they're showing it here. It says the free plan allows up to 50 sources. If we have the pro plan, it's up to 300. And then there are other plans. If we go to Notebooklm plans, we can see all the information here. Look, there it is, up to 50 per notebook. Per notebook, meaning we can create multiple notebooks without any issues. Look, within Plus, we have up to 100. If I upgrade, how much? For €4 a month. And we get other perks like the Gemini app, Flow, Whisk. Not bad, not bad. 200 gigabytes of total storage in Google Drive. Wow, not bad, huh? I'll make a video soon. I'll make a video about this soon. Between what's performing better today, Gemini or ChatGPT, because I have many doubts. But this isn't the topic of the video. We have another type of presentation here, okay? I think it's another example of the results they achieved, okay? With another 28 resources, different from those we were seeing. We have something very interesting, which is indeed explanatory audios, okay? We can create a podcast about our topic, and if we have a question, instead of asking the chat, we can use the podcast tool to have 2 people discuss our question. Something that seems to me that's going to take my job. that we generate. So if we now add resources and let AI do intensive research on what resources it recommends, it doesn't make much sense to me. It really lacks sense. I think it's much smarter to take a video and understand what it's about. We can even take the video transcript and summarize it with ChatGPT to get the key points, since videos typically have a structure. There's the introduction, which isn't relevant. There's how it works, how to use it, and finally the conclusions. Well, the intro and conclusions usually contain repeated information we've already covered. So we can discard that information and start filtering if we want to create a truly powerful notebook, right? Which isn't necessary, right? I've never filled all 50 sources in Notebooklm, never. And honestly, that's more than enough. Simply put, what you need to learn is that whenever you're going to talk about a specific topic, for example, I'm now talking about Gemini, right? Well, I create a notebook. But if I'm now going to talk about Nano Banana, which might seem similar but isn't, what I'll do is create a new notebook. Clearly, if we can organize information in different notebooks, we'll never hit that limit problem. Of course, it's different if we want to cover something too broad in one notebook, like discussing ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, DeepSeek, and 40 other tools that exist. Then we're obviously going to have a problem. As you can see, this deep research is taking quite a while, so let's wait. Well, it seems that it has already done it. The truth is, it took much less time than I expected and has compiled a total of... We had submitted a resource. Oh, I haven't imported them yet. Okay, we can select the sources here and see what sources it has provided us. It's given us a PDF here that talks a bit about the different Gemini tiers. This PDF is very well selected, right? Cybersecurity and so on. There are different sections that are cited within the report itself. I understand this is selected because it has them. Look, report and 20 selected resources, okay? So it's been selecting all the resources. We could click select all, right? In case we wanted to import any reference it used. Basically, it just took a PDF file and we click import to start importing all files. Honestly, he hasn't done badly at all, right? It doesn't look like I've done badly at all, not bad at all. I'd like to see how many resources I have now. I have 20 resources out of 50. There have been some errors here. Okay, it says access to this resource is limited by, well, basically you have to pay, right? So we'll delete those. On the other hand, how can we get a PDF of a book? Well, obviously we have different options, or rather the PDF of a research paper. We have several options. There are legitimate ways, okay, to do it, like using the Google Scholar tool, right? Which would be an academic Google. Select it, set it to any language, take our topic Gemini artificial intelligence, paste it, hit search, and here we have several. Here's a PDF talking a bit about artificial intelligence in healthcare. The performance of Gemini, Google Gemini, and Bard. Here we have different models, okay? Grok, Gemini, ChatGPT, and DeepSeek. And we have different research channels where we could find them if they interest us, right? Then once we have the PDF of a book, okay? Since we've paid for it, we can put it directly here in resources. Here, everyone needs to maximize the resources they have, okay? In fact, I'd recommend that if you'll use this tool frequently, create a database on your computer, okay? That is, all those files from Gemini, like PDFs, not videos, obviously, but PDFs or documents, save those on your computer in a Gemini folder. Then do the same for ChatGPT research. Why? Because if tomorrow you need to compare Gemini and ChatGPT, you already have those files, so that you won't have to spend 30 minutes, an hour, 2, 3, or 10 hours searching for those files again. Now, on the other hand, we have the artificial intelligence section. Interacting with AI is very straightforward. It's as simple as asking what you want to know, and it will tell you if that information is within the resources you've provided. That's it, okay? It's true that we have this configuration section where we can define the objective, style, and role of the conversation. For example, a customized learning guide. We can define a role. For instance, since we're discussing AI, you could set it as an AI engineer who's teaching students with specific knowledge levels. You can specify that you're teaching someone with no prior knowledge about the topic. Then it will explain more thoroughly and provide additional details on the more complex content. We can input up to 10,000 characters of context, which is an enormous amount, right? We can also choose the response length, longer or shorter. This depends on what each person wants. And then we have the history, okay? Which we can delete if we want to, right? In case we've gone through many iterations, we can clear it. In my particular case, I must say that extensive interaction with this AI hasn't caused me any problems. That is, It doesn't seem to retain much context from what you've previously asked. It simply analyzes the database and that's it. Now let's move on to what's really interesting and what many people actually use, the study section. We have the option to create an audio summary, right? In different formats, such as detailed information, a brief summary, a critique, or a debate, okay? We can set the duration to short, long, or default, okay? Let's choose, for example, a short debate. We can select the language. This is already incredible. This is amazing. Look at all the languages here, huh? Look at all the languages available here. You have it in everything. You have it in English, Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, French, it doesn't matter. It says, what should the AI presenters focus on in this episode? Because if you click here, it generates the podcast, but about what? I just uploaded 40 sources. There are probably dozens of topics to talk about. Here we can define, hey, tell me specifically about the latest news and research Gemini has achieved in 2024 and 2025. Then we have video summary, which also has different configurations once again. We can choose between an explanatory video and a summary. We also have options to choose the language and visual style, okay? An automatic selection, customized, classic, blackboard, kawaii, anime, watercolor. Well, we have different styles. I'm going to ask it to use anime style, and I won't specify any theme. If I exit this, it goes straight to generate, and now I'll request blackboard style generate. As you can see, it says that it will return in a few minutes. I clicked generate audio and audio of medium length, not too long, and it's been loading for 20 minutes. So this can take time. Then we have mind maps, okay? It says generating a mind map of 20 resources. This should take less time. Here, there isn't any type of configuration. We can also generate reports based on our resources, okay? And here it tells us make our own creation, where we basically define what the report is about. For example, make me a report about the latest features that have been released, okay? We can ask it to create a summary or a study guide for us. Let's ask for a summary, okay? An analysis, a competitive analysis, a technical report. Well, we also have the teaching card option, which are the cards we've seen before, right? We also have configuration settings, basically for the number of cards and their difficulty level, okay? Which are ultimately questions that will be asked to you. We have the questionnaire section with the same configuration as the teaching cards. It's really the same thing, just in a different format. Well, it's not the same because the questionnaire is a multiple choice test. A, B, C, D, okay? I'm not sure if we can configure A, B, C, number of questions. No. Well, maybe if we ask for it. Let's hit generate. We have the infographic, which I understand will give you statistics. I'm going to hit generate. No, you should generate directly like I'm doing, but this is to speed up and explain all the features a bit. Look, infographic generates an infographic with AI using your resources. Yes, but we understood that. These descriptions are a bit poor. We have the option to create a presentation, which is what we've seen many people doing lately. Well, what we've actually seen is a video summary, but presentations too, this will annoy many people. We'll ask it to make it short and create it as a presentation, okay? And then we have a data table. As you can see, many resources are data-based for data analysis, database analysis, and it's really designed for that too, not just to help you pass your social sciences exam, okay? Let's take a look at what's been generated. First, let's go through the mind map, which is pretty much similar to what we've seen before, okay? For example, do you see when I select the scene ID watermarking? Well, it then it interacts with the chat, asks about it, and gives me an answer based on the information we have. And what's more, if I click here on number 8, it takes me to resource 8 and shows me exactly where that information is located, okay? So it doesn't make things up. It's really wonderful, honestly. I mean, it's incredible. We have here the summary document, right? A brief summary document. This is another thing. We can take a document, create a summary of it, and then copy and paste that summary into the LM notebook, okay? You don't even need to use ChatGPT, or actually it's much better. We also have flashcards. Well, just the questions. Which model ID of the preview? What's the ID for the preview version of Gemini 3 Pro? We click to see the answer and it's Gemini 3 Pro preview. This has to be a joke, right? Maybe we should have made it a bit more difficult. That was the ABCD. Based on the API.com blog, do you see how it references me? What's the maximum context window for the Gemini 3 Pro preview model? Well, I'll tell you, 200,000 tokens. Oh, please. Okay. Then we have the Gemini 3 model family comparison and technical specification. It compares different models, costs, whether they're worth it. Right, a basic data table. We have the interesting part, the podcast, Gemini 3 Pro shifts to high think, okay? Basically, if you click, you get a minute and a half of two people talking. Usually it's a guy and a girl, and it's always the same voices, okay? And you can see there's an interact button here. If I select it, I get an audio summary and can join their conversation to ask questions about the topic. Okay, I don't know, we're talking about Gemini, and suddenly someone mentions that Gemini 2.3 Giga L is coming out. Obviously, I've never heard of that before. I ask her, hey, sorry, what's Gemini 2.3 Giga L? And then he's about to tell me. If it's part of the available information, we definitely need to test it. So it's something incredible. I mean, I highly recommend trying it since obviously pre-generated audio isn't necessarily good, right? Then we have Gemini 3.0, which is the infographic. Let's check out the infographic. It's just an image, okay? Where they effectively provide us information about the image. As you can see, this is AI generated, as evident from the small details, okay? I mean, all this is generated by AI, and by the way, all of this is free, okay? Important. This is probably one of the best tools we've had since last year, or the past 2 years. Wow. We now have the 16-minute and 34-second audio format from Gemini, which is basically the audio summary I requested at the default duration. We also have Gemini 3 reasoning agents, which generated this resource. This is from a present. It hasn't generated the 2 video summaries I requested yet. It hasn't produced any of them yet, and it's been about 10 minutes already, so it takes time, okay? It's not instant because obviously the computational power required for this must be quite substantial. Let's see what this presentation looks like. I'd like to see it on screen. Okay, that's good. The audio has remained down here for some reason. And there's the presentation, November 25th, Gemini 3, the era, the core shift, deep thinking. We have that bit of information there, and this is really meant for making a presentation. If you remember, I set the configuration to not be a detailed presentation, but rather one with bullet points, assuming we already know the information and just need to discuss it. Obviously, we haven't given it any reference. What does that mean? That the AI has done whatever it wanted. If we gave it specific instructions like, I want you to make a presentation with 20 slides. On the first slide, this topic, second slide, that topic, third slide. The typical approach when making slides, first creating the structure and then building the presentation, right? Like everyone does. Well, that's what we should have done. As you can see, it says Notebooklm at the bottom. It generates these images for us here. Nano Banana Pro, explaining it, has 4K resolution generated via Google search, well, Google VO. He also tells us about the agentic code, a reasoning and match. This is super interesting, right? Even to use while I'm speaking here and have it in the background for you to see. This is super interesting, eh? I'm being very serious. Okay, we have the first video of mystifying Gemini 3 there. Let's watch the video. I think the video comes with commentary. Let's see it. It's 6 minutes long. It said 1, right? You've probably seen many videos like this on the internet. There are entire channels dedicated to this. And I won't lie to you, the videos aren't bad at all. As long as you've selected the information well, you've given it a good input, a good prompt to generate a good video for you. It's really great. I think it generated it with a cardboard theme, okay? But honestly, it's truly enviable. I mean, it's enviable to be able to do this in 20 minutes. Really, you have no idea how long it would take just to put together the presentation. I mean, it would take her hours, okay? Let's see how it renders me in anime style, which is what we asked for. I'm eager to see it, so let's wait a moment. Well, it looks like we have it now, and it's called More of the Same from Mystifying Gemini 3, same theme. And now I'm not sure if it's the first or second one. Well, we've already seen this one, right? It changes my voice. Well, it makes me anime style. It's still just a presentation. I don't know if anyone expected a video or epic anime battle, but no, that wasn't going to happen, okay? But there you have it. It maintains the structure and aesthetics, right? I mean, you can see it. We won't listen to what it says because basically it's saying what it would tell us in text. So the information is good. Okay, picture Gemini 3 Pro as long as the information we've selected. So basically with this, you can make a video, create a summary, or do any research you want. I've tried to give you plenty of good tips about how I've been using Notebook, okay? So, well, I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you want to learn more about AI, check the description for free resources, including a free ebook on artificial intelligence, generating images with Nano Banana, and more. I mean, who knows? You could take that ebook and put it right here. Hey, did you see that? Did you see that? That's a good one too, huh? That's also a good one. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, seriously. Thank you so much for watching this video with me. Thanks for all your support, and I'll see you in future videos.